I think has been largely forgotten in the past has been the Star Spangled Banner and the story that came with that. On the 13th of September in 1814, which is well after the Revolutionary War, the colonies were still interlocked in battle with the British. And in Baltimore, Maryland, there's a fort called Fort, I forgot now.
McHenry or?
Fort McHenry.
Yep.
Sorry, Fort McHenry in Baltimore, Maryland, which is where I was actually born. There was a bunch of British vessels that were sitting off the coast. Inside those British vessels held a bunch of American soldiers of war. And the colonies also had prisoners of war on their side as well. And they sent a man by the name of Francis Scott Key, who was a lawyer in Annapolis, Maryland. They sent Francis Scott Key out to negotiate for the release of these, see what they can do to create a release of these prisoners, return them to where they should be. So Francis Scott Key went out on a rowboat, and there he successfully made the swap, the prisoner transfer on a one-for-one basis, is what they agreed upon. Upon reaching their agreement, Francis Scott Key went into the cargo hold and found it full of humanity, men in chains, in cages, living in their own filth, barely kept alive by what little sustainment they were given. He went down and told them that tomorrow he had arranged for their freedom and that they would be free to return back to the colonies. Immediately, the entire cabin inside there lit up. Everyone was so excited to finally be going home. And he went back up on deck, and an admiral came to him and said that there was a problem. There was an issue. They had laid an ultimatum on the colonies of your people. And he said they will either capitulate and lay down their arms and that flag that they hold so dear, or Fort McHenry will be removed from the face of the earth. And he said, how are you going to do that? How are you going to remove this fort from the face of the earth? He said, turn around and look at the horizon. Tell me what you see. He turned around and he saw black dots that scattered and peppered the horizon. He said, out there are 19 of the British fleet, some of the largest guns that we have and hold. And they're going to be here by nightfall. And when they get here, we are going to shell that fort to death. And Francis Scott Key, by this, of course, was taken back, and he looked at him and said, well, you can't shell that fort. There are women and children and people that are non-military that live in that fort. It's primarily not a military fort. And he said, don't worry about it. We left them a way out. He said, the only way out is if you look up on the rampart, you see that flag that's standing up high. He said, if they've been told that if they lower that flag, the shelling will cease immediately. All fight will stop. And they will know the fort is surrendered and now is under British rule. At sunset, the British unleash. Bang! He said the sound was deafening. There were so many guns that there was no relief. The sky, though dark, was suddenly lit, and from below he could hear all the men in the cargo hold asking continuously over and over, where's the flag? Where's the flag? Is it still flying? Did they lower it? Tell us. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours into the shelling, and every time a bomb would go off near the flag, the red illuminant from it, the glow, they could see the flag. And they would report down to the men below that it's still up, it's still flying. The admiral came to Francis Scott Key and said, "Your people are insane. Don't they know this whole position is impossible? Everything that they're trying for, it's not possible for them to make it out." Francis Scott Key said that he remembered George Washington, and he said that the thing that separates the American Christian, apart from all other people in the world is that he will die on his feet before he will live on his knees. The admiral said, "We are now focusing all of our guns on the flag to bring it down." He said, "We've been told by our reconnaissance that it has been hit several times directly, and the flag is still flying. But now for the next 3 hours, all fire will be concentrated on that flag to bring it down." Francis Scott Key said that all he could hear from below were the men praying a prayer, "God, keep that flag flying where we last saw it," through the whole night. When sunrise came, the mist from the cannon fire was over the land so much that you could barely see anything above the water. But sure enough, they were able to look up and see the flag still flying where it had been this whole time on the rampart. The flag itself was torn and ripped from all the fire. And the flagpole was at a crazy angle, sitting in a strange position. Francis Scott Key went from the ship with the men that he had argued for, and went down to Fort McHenry and found that the flag had been hit and it had fallen. But men, fathers, brothers, that knew what that meant for that flag, to be on the ground and knowing that all guns were trained on it and on its position, went over and held it up and died. And when they died, their bodies were removed and others took their place. And it wasn't just men. These weren't just men, these were patriots. Men who loved this country and love what we as a country stand for. Francis Scott Key said that what held that flag there at that unusual angle were patriots' bodies. And then he penned the song, "Oh, say can you see, by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, that death was demanded, the price it was paid, for the land of the free and the home of the brave." 4th of July is a wonderful holiday for all of us. For Americans, we hear this song, it's written in most hymnals across churches, played before ball games, for all of our sporting events. But nobody really thinks about what that song means. People have asked me over and over and over again, why did you join the military? Why did you want to be in the Navy? Stories like that are the reason why. We all stand and fight as patriots, because this is not just an everyday occurrence. Everything that we stand for and we fight for on a daily basis can be taken away in a breath. But it's because you have people that stand up and they will put their bodies, their lives to the end just so that flag does not fall and touch the ground. We only do that with God's help, and we only do that with each other's.